Today in this video, we will learn about VHDL. We will see what it is, where it came from, where it is used and how it is written. Let's start with why VHDL was needed. So all of us have same electronic circuits. The question is who makes those electronic circuits and how do they design such complex electronic systems. In the earlier days, we had people who would design the logic by hand. A simple circuit looks like this. So we have an AND gate that takes the input A and B, and we have a NOT gate that takes the input C. The output from those two gates is further fed into a OR gate, the output of which is further passed down to a NOT gate, and then we get the output Y. So this is an example of a simple circuit that can be easily designed by hand. But as the number of logic gates in circuits grew, it became impossible to design everything by hand. Thus the need for a language emerged that could be used to specify the behavior and structure of the complex hardware. An example of a complex hardware would be an integrated circuit like this. So this has millions of logic gates and a lot of transistors that makes the complex hardware, right? So integrated circuit is basically a circuit that has a lot of components in one place. In 1983, the United States Department of Defense awarded a contract to Intermetrics Incorporated, Texas Instruments, and IBM for the development of a hardware description language that could document the behavior of ASICs that they were using. Thus, VHDL was born. Now, the ASICs stands for Application Specific Integrated Circuits. They are integrated circuit chips that are customized to perform specific tasks. The VHDL acronym is made up of two more acronyms, VHSIC and HDL. VHSIC stands for Very High Speed Integrated Circuits. So an ASIC, an ASIC, is one example of a very high speed integrated circuit, and HDL stands for Hardware Description Language. VHDL became an IEEE 1076 standard in 1987. The development of VHDL also gave rise to logic simulators and logic synthesis tools that were used to simulate the ASICs and output a definition of the physical implementation of the circuit. So here you can see one example of logic simulation. So LogiSim is a software that is used to simulate the behavior of an electronic circuit, and here you can see how logic synthesis happens. So on the left side you will see VHDL code written, and on the right side you will see a structure of gates, a collection of gates that was made from this VHDL code. So the conversion of this VHDL code to this circuit netlist, this is what is called as logic synthesis. In VHDL, an entity is used to describe the design. So entity is basically one unit of that VHDL code, and the entity defines the names, input, output signals and modes of the hardware. The syntax of this entity looks like this, and with an entity we also have an architecture that describes what the construction of that entity is, what gates are used, how they interact with each other, and how they produce the output. So we have this syntax. First we write entity, then we write the entity name. Let's say we are making an OR gate So here we can write the name of that OR gate. Let's say we give that OR gate a name of OR gate number 1, and is the keyword that describes that we are writing the ports of that entity now. A port is basically a keyword that describes the input output ports of that entity, what input it takes and what is the name of that input, what outputs it produces and what is the name of that output, and then we end the declaration of that entity with this keyword end, and we write the entity name, which was AND gate number 1. And architecture, in this architecture the syntax looks like, first we write architecture, then we write the architecture name of that entity. So this architecture is basically the architecture of the entity that we declared already, and let's say we give this architecture a name of AND gate arc, and here we will write AND gate 1. Then we have the architecture declarative part, which signifies the start of those statements that describe how the architecture functions. Then we have the begin keyword. This signifies statements are starting, and in this part, the statements, we write logic of that architecture, and we end that architecture with the end keyword, and we write the architecture name here. So we see an example of this. So here is an example of the VHDL code for an AND gate. The first line, we are importing a library called IEEE. So we write IEEE, library IEEE. Then we write use IEEE.stdlogic1164.all, which means we are using the standard logic 1164 package of this IEEE, and we are importing all the components inside it. Then we declare the entity AND1. We are making an AND gate here. Then we write is, and then we write the names of the ports and the input and output ports. So x comma y is the in bit. So x and y are two input bits, two input pins, and z is the output bit, right? And then we end the entity with end AND1. Then we write the architecture of that AND1 gate. So the name of that architecture is AND_arc. We write of AND1 because it is important to specify which entity is this architecture for. So this AND_arc is for AND1. Then we write is, and then we write begin. Now begin signifies the start of the logic. Here we see z is less than equal to x and y. Now z has the value less than or equal to x and y. So these two inputs will be operated with an AND operation. This AND keyword signifies the AND operation, and then the output will be stored in z, right? And then we end the architecture for that AND gate. Now this translates into a net list that looks like this. This is the diagram of an AND gate. This code will be translated into this kind of diagram. Finally, we see where the VHDL language is used. The VHDL language is used to make or design the circuitry for different kinds of circuits, two of which are integrated circuits and FPGAs. Integrated circuits are basically systems on chips, right? These input and output pins, you can see the silver colored pins. These are input and output pins of these integrated circuits, and this black part is where the processing happens. FPGAs are basically field programmable gate arrays. These are processors made up of different kinds of gates that are programmable in the field. In the field means when you need it. when you are working on something and when you need to customize that chip, then you use a FPGA. So this was all about VHDL. I'll see you in the next video. Till then, take care.